Did you get your tickets yet? To the gun show? I don't know. I'm really happy because I've been working out a lot and you can actually see it in my arms now. So I was told to start the show with that. But I don't know, I gotta go to the vet because my pythons are sick. Oh, yeah, but welcome to Anime Book Club. Welcome to Anime Book Club. I'm Jess. Hi. And we will be talking about, and there will be spoilers, so fair warning for everybody. We'll be talking about the newest episodes of a whole bunch of anime that is airing on Verve, Funimation, and Crunchyroll. And with the end, we will be spinning our wheel for a random show. So, Erik, let's join Erik.
Hey. I thought my feed disconnected for a second, so I refreshed the page, and then all I see is Jess saying my pythons are sick, and I'm like, what? I did not. I must have missed the lead into this. I'm like, what happened?
I was just talking about working out, and the other people in the room with me here were like, you should start out with that. And I'm like, I think I will. And it was great. Okay. Okay. That's all you missed. So you're good. Welcome to Anime Book Club. Again, we will have spoilers, so if you haven't seen the newest episode of something, feel free to mute us during that section or something. It was an interesting week. I think last week was significantly more exciting in the world of all of these shows, but this week was not bad. So for most of them, some of them, we'll get there. Dynazenon. So Dynazenon totally bucked the trend for me this week because this is consistently in the bottom 2 of the shows we watch for me. Okay, and I actually really liked this episode.
Yeah, not that Dynazenon is terrible. It's just that all the other shows we're watching are just so consistently good, and Dynazenon is it's there. It's not Gridman. I'm watching it. Yeah. It's not actually that bad, but it's just compared to everything else, it's just not in our top rankings.
You got something in this episode that I feel like we should have had maybe 4 episodes ago to make it more interesting, but whatever. We got there. It took us 9 episodes, but we got there. That the kaijus, the ethical question of, are the kaijus really bad? Or are they just manipulated and or, giant and or rampaging? Because little redheaded chick, she got her own kaiju. And
yeah, so she's finally not on the sidelines anymore. She has her own thing that she can use to fight, and she's not the substitute pitcher anymore.
Yep, and conveniently, it's not one of those weird kaiju. It's one that can absolutely transform and combine with both the weird Gridman dude and with Dynazenon, and now they're this thing that has a translucent cape called Super Dragon King Kaiser Grid Knight.
It's so much. That transformation was so much. It was so unnecessary. It's I understand that now they're this super mega powerful being, whatever, right? But they were coming at this kaiju 3v1. And I'm like, you know what? At a certain point, your numerical advantage outweighs you just piling on. And you didn't need to do this. You could have just fought them normally, and I'm sure they would have won. But no, they're let's do this super Sentai ultimate joint venture, but whatever.
Yeah, and also little chick also is not doing the thing that the other ones do to control it.
Yeah, she's just dominance instance, whatever.
Yeah, she's just being its friend. She's no, he's my friend. But it doesn't she doesn't directly control it. It's literally like an animal. It feels like an animal, it's sort of listening to her and rescuing people.
Yeah, it does feel like it's connected to her heart though, because they were saying that the kaiju can understand, they connect with a person, they understand their feelings. So it is connecting with her, because even when she didn't give it direct instructions to do something, it acted on its own. She was man, I kind of hate that. I kind of hate my old high school or middle school. I don't know what she's at. I don't know what she's in. But yeah, I kind of hate the school. And she didn't even say it out loud. And the dragon was oh, I guess I'm just going to wreck some kids today. And she had to pull it back.
Yep, I'm gonna wreck some children's day.
But yeah, I kind of like him. I forgot what his name. Gold. His name is Gold something. She found a random band
it's
poster
a
in her
band
room and
name
named
on
it
her
after her.
wall. Yeah.
I like him. I feel
But
like
yeah.
he's stronger outside of the mech because like he has this weird ability where he can just make like change the size of things. So he could have just like shrunk everything around the kaiju or just shrunk the kaiju itself. I don't know. So I feel like he's gonna be pretty strong. And even though she doesn't like go inside of him in order to fight, I guess she's now part of like the fighting team now.
Well, hey, she's like the most powerful part of the fighting team. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like her kaiju kind of puts the rest of Dynazenon to shame individually. You know, like together they're pretty strong, but her kaiju was like holding its own against the other one by itself. And it's like, oh, yes, you're not only relevant, you're stronger than everyone else in the show now. So, it is what it is. There's also like some small development with that dude that might have dated the chick's sister. I just don't care. Like, I feel really unfeeling to talk about this way, but I just don't care about that storyline. Why you gotta drag it out? Why does it have to be so long and painful? I just don't. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm done. But at least we got something that should have been several episodes ago, but happened, and now we have an ethical quandary about kaiju, and now they're fighting with us, sort of, and yeah, so we'll see where it goes. On to something better. I'm a spider, so what? Yeah!
Spider is always good. Spider is always good.
Spider is always good. So, our main character, Kumoko here, has been, like, healing people in the town, and the town are, like, praising her and bringing her all this food and fruit, and she's like, oh, man, I love fruit. But then these dudes come, and they're like, well, technically, you did this stuff in our town, so we're going to try to capture you and bring you back to our town and use you for our nefarious purposes. And she's like, nope, that's a big old nope right there, and just nopes out, which was kind of fun. You've got
so the biggest thing about this episode, well, I guess I can't say the biggest thing because lots of things happened.
There's a lot happened this episode.
She had a meeting with admin Gilly. Like she gave him like a shortened name because his name is so long. But he comes up to her and says, hey, like I'm the admin, and so I have like this authority over this world. Here's a few requests that I have of you. Can you please acknowledge them? How about you not attack Ariel and stop meddling with the humans? And she just says, nah, I'm not going to do that.
Well, no,
to both requests.
In fairness, for the Ariel part, she's lost control of her other mind. Like, she can't stop the other mind from attacking the demon lord. Yeah, like the body mind is there, and she's like, yeah, and she even tells him that. She's like, there's not really a lot I can do about that one. But the human one, she's like, nope, I like fruit. You can eat it, you know, like
yeah. And he's like, oh, really? Oh, I guess you can't adhere to any of my requests. I'm the admin, but I guess I'm just gonna go away with my tail between my legs. Like, thanks for giving me your time. Bye. And it's like, wait a minute. Yeah. Like, is that it?
The crazy admin was like threatening her to like, oh, well, I guess I could just erase you from existence. Like when the crazy admin was like, she did something that crazy admin didn't like. She's like, you better entertain me or I'll just completely erase you from existence.
So okay. When that happened, I was like, wait a minute, you're an admin. Like, you need to have like some level of authority over the situation. But then I thought about a few servers I manage. And I was like, you know what? If there's an admin on the team that favors a particular person in the server that like is not doing the right thing and they favor them and they always stick out for them, the other admins just don't have any authority or power. So, you know, I kind of understood it. At first I was like, wait a minute, Gilly, you need to do something about this. But then I was like, you know what? Admin D probably is like looking out for Kumiko and isn't going to allow anything to happen. So I'm like, dang.
I agree. Yeah. You got on the human side, a lot of stuff happened. Well, you got like a lot of backstory about the teacher who turned out to be an elf. And when she's a little kid, she's like, oh, I'm an elf, and my special ability is to see the school roster. What a very specialized special ability. But she can totally see the entire school roster, and that's like her like once per game special ability, you know, special thing or whatever. So she's like hey, Dad, I know I'm just an infant, but here's what's going on. I'm actually a reincarnated, like, 20-something.
Yeah,
Like,
she got the telepathy skill at like 0 months old, and then listen to the conversations around her to learn the language, and then this literal infant is saying, "Hey, Dad, here's the plan. Follow it to the T. No deviations, please."
Yep. I mean, can you imagine being the Elf King and being like, all right, I guess my baby's telling me what to do. Okay. Now, all right.
You have to check yourself, though. You have to, like, ask yourself, is this really happening, or are you going crazy? Like, was there a moment in time where he's like, you know what? This probably isn't happening. I'm probably had too much to drink today.
Yeah. You also find out that she can see when people, or how people die, but she can also change it. That's why she was collecting all of the reincarnated people and basically kidnapping them and putting them in the elf village because she avoided some of their deaths that way. So she can change the future and see the future, sort of, but how much of it she has any control over, or if her actions resulted in that, or, you know, if it's just happenstance, you know, that changed that, is still remains to be seen.
Yeah, her power kind of reminded me a lot of Yuno's Future Diary from Future Mirai Nikki, where she can see like the future of how someone's going to die, and so I don't think the anime quite explained it completely, but every single person that got reincarnated got a specialty skill based on who they were as a human before, and so that's why Oka has the class roster. And for the main character, her special skill was a skill called Skanda, which makes her super, super fast. Because it hasn't like been talked about in the anime, but in the light novel, it talks about how she was like a gamer, and her skill was like being like the fastest gamer of all time. And so that's why she has this super crazy speed in the her reincarnated state. So I guess Oka really cared for her students, and so that's why they gave her the class roster skill. That way she can keep an eye on them. And it seems that like also. So if you paid attention, it was like it showed where each person died, and for it showed Hugo and I think the main Shun, Hugo and Shun dies in Elf Village, and so it's also like it should be noted that like she brought all those people to the Elf Village except Hugo, Shun, and Katya. So she actually was putting in a decent amount of thought in terms of trying to like protect them. But of course, nothing ever goes as planned. So,
of course, generally, I look forward to the show. We're gonna get to some kind of conclusion around 24, whether probably another season later, or just teasing so they can sell more light novels. But that's okay. I mean, we're gonna get to some kind of conclusion.
I'm already buying the light novels. I'm already sold. I'm 4 in right now.
Marketing is working. Marketing is working on you. So
it is.
The world ends with you. Every week I'm so bored with this show. I really am. And it feels like, so we're in week 3, and Neku is like on game number 3, and they throw him in here, and now he's found out that there are no other players, right, in the entirety of the game. And which is kind of unfair, considering you can't actually fight anything without somebody else to pair with. And then, is it Beat like, first of all, you find out Beat's real name, which he apparently hates. And then Beat's like, nah, I'm done being a Shinigami. I'm going to help you out, and we're going to rescue all of our friends, which, okay, that's cool, except you've just undone what you've done for the last, 7 days of this game and trying to save Rhyme. But, okay, all right, we'll go with it. But the part I felt was really phoned in is, you've got, the last 2 weeks of the game or whatever. I've got a lot of monsters. I've got a lot of tasks. We've got these special noises and all this. And you get to this one, it's like, oh, the chick who's running it? Yeah, she's like, yeah, you have 1 task, and it's going to last 6 days. And that's it. She totally phoned it in. She absolutely phoned it in.
So she has a reason. She has a reason. It didn't exactly explain in this episode, but she does have a reason. She really is just phoning this one in. She's not really trying to be involved. She's gonna be doing other stuff in the meantime. But B acted so surprised, and everybody was like, "Oh, you're finally gonna stop pretending to attack Neku, and you're just gonna join on this team now." And he's like, "Oh, you knew I wasn't serious." Yeah, bro. Everybody knew.
Everybody knew. Sorry, everybody knew.
So,
but yeah.
We get, week 3 is starting off. And we also get to see that the Game Master, unlike previous weeks, she ordered all the Reapers in town to go after Neku. Because before they weren't allowed to attack them outside of like specific missions. So now it's pretty much God, what's the movie with Keanu Reeves where he's running and everyone's after him? I can't remember. But yeah, so everyone's after beating Neku, and their only mission is to beat the Game Master. But of course, it's going to take 6 days. I don't quite get like they gave everybody the red pins in order to make them stronger, but it also like makes them like it kind of controls their mind, and everybody's okay with it. I never quite understood why all of them were okay with like willingly having their mind control over a little bit extra power when you have literally 1,000 Reapers all going after 2 guys or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. This show is probably might be the bottom of my list this week. I don't
think it's bad. I think this week they slowed it down. They only showcased one day this week, as opposed to like the other weeks that they went to like 2 or 3. So it kind of felt better paced at the very least.
Yeah. Well, Tokyo Revengers. I mentioned this when we were talking before, and I will reiterate it for the stream. Every week we watch the show, and every week I like this show less. And I'm not saying that this is the bottom of my list. And I'm not saying that I don't like this still to a degree, but I feel like they started out strong, and then it's just evolved into either stuff nobody cares about, the main character being dumb and terrible, or nonsensical time travel rules that aren't even internally consistent. And every week that goes by, it gets worse and worse and worse. And this week is no exception, for me, at least.
Yeah, it's the reason why it's kind of annoying is because as a time travel show, it's not bad, but it's just so like not even the main point, Like the time travel is just almost an afterthought. But it's what the whole show hinges on, And the main character has no ability to do anything. He kind of just coasts everything through, and he tries to do stuff, but it's like
terrible.
It's like nothing he does has any relevance, and the plot keeps trying to do like all these misdirects and reveals, but it's like I feel like they need to just take an Occam razor to this entire plot, because it's like you don't need to do 3 or 4 misdirects to get to this point. Like it was just so unnecessary to be like, oh, it's going to happen like this. Mikey and Dragon are going to have this huge battle, and someone's going to die. Oh no, the battle isn't the real thing. It's actually going to be like a secondary surprise attack. Oh no, it's not a surprise attack. It's this guy. Oh no, it's not this guy. It's this other guy. And it's like, please stop.
Yeah. Well, okay, you're the main character, right? And you've been told August 3rd is when Draken dies. Why, in God's name, did you let your guard down? You know when it happens. Why aren't you glued to Draken the entire night of August 3rd? I mean, the main character is real dumb, and I can't deal with it. And it's like, you have one task. Like, you're not here to make up with your middle school girlfriend, all right? It's great if you want to get together. That's wonderful, right? If you want to make friends, great. But you have a job. You are literally here for a reason. And it hinges on her and saving her life. Why are you so bad at it?
In his defense, a little bit, he's consistently getting really bad information from the little brother. The little brother, has been investigating these events for like 15 years, right? He's been a detective looking almost specifically into this one event, and for whatever reason, he's given him like half the amount of information that he needs, or sometimes just flat out wrong information. And so,
I think there's a point that maybe the time travel is affecting the information. I think that's very plausible. But it doesn't matter how much information he gives him, because he really only needed one piece of information, and that is Draken dies on August 3rd, and he just completely flubs it. Flubs it, man. Like, he was with Draken. Just stay with him. What are you doing? Maybe pack some heat. I don't know. Like,
I mean, it's
come
Japan.
on.
But,
well, I mean, pack a club or something, something.
Nice. So, and the thing is, what I don't get is that main character, even when he realizes, oh, wait a minute, I messed up. I guess Draken is still in danger. He runs around and has all these like casual conversations and like motivational speeches. And I'm like, okay, it's nice to have this motivational speech with your girlfriend and she's going to encourage you. But please wrap it up very fast because you don't know when Draken's going to die. He could be dying right now while you're getting motivated. Okay, first motivational speech is done. Then he meets this other guy on a motorcycle and he's like just chatting with him. And I'm like, no, you have a place to be. And like you have a cell phone. Your girlfriend has a cell phone. You know Draken's number. Your girlfriend knows his girlfriend's number. Like you could just say, hey, you guys should get indoors. Like not be on the street anymore. Someone's after you.
So it doesn't make any sense. And it's incredibly frustrating. And but where we're at right now, there's 2 dudes that want to kill Draken, and main character's got the crap beat out of him again. And now the race is on to save Draken, even though none of this was necessary, and he had one task and he failed at it pretty miserably. And we're bogged down in this Tokyo Manji Gang stuff, and I just feel like they're setting up this series to be really long, and I'm not here for it. I'm just not here for it. So
yeah, I just don't care about the gang stuff that's happening, and like I was interested more in this because of the time travel aspect, but that's just like almost taking a back seat, and the gang stuff is just really sloppy, and it doesn't really make any sense, honestly. So it's like
it doesn't. It really doesn't. But no, whatever. Don't toy with me, Miss Nagatoro. Hey, a strangely better show.
Yeah.
I do love this show. The more I watch this show, the more I love it. It's the opposite of Tokyo Revengers. Instead of going downhill, it's going uphill, and I like it more every single time that I watch it.
I'm surprised at how much I like Nagatoro. Like, I'm surprised at where she started as being like this toxic person that I just was like, man, please call the cops on this girl. So now I'm like, man, I really like her. Like, I really like her, and I really like the relationship that she's in.
I do too. This is vignette style, much like most of them are. You've got the first section, they're studying for exams, and he's smarter than a lot of them because her little delinquent friends, as you might guess, are pretty dumb. But they're fantasizing about what it would be like if he not only failed a grade, but he failed 2 grades. So he would be their kohai, and they would be his senpais. And it's basically just like a long torture sequence where they're getting their jollies off of thinking about it. That part, I mean, it was okay. But then you get
it was a little long though.
It was a little long. It was a little long. And then like there's a whole sequence where carrying bags, and they're playing like rock paper scissors, and he winds up having to carries her. Oh crap.
Yeah. So for the first round, Nagatoro loses, and so she has to carry his bags. And so the second time he like feels bad, so he loses on purpose. But then like for the final round, he goes at it seriously and he loses again. And she's like, hey, this time you have to carry my whole weight. You have to carry me and my bags home.
You gotta carry me and my bags.
But he's super weak.
She's like, yeah, and so he's like trying to do it, and she's slipping off, and he grabs like basically right under her butt, and she gets super nervous, runs off, doesn't even look at him, and just runs the other way, and it's super cute. It's just super cute.
So
and he has no clue because he's a man and he's oblivious because men are oblivious. That's just kind of what it is. But then the last sequence, I'm just saying, he's a man. In the last sequence, she calls him to tease him, and she's in the bathtub and hits the button for video and doesn't realize she's done it, and she's like broadcasting herself nude in the bathtub to him for a second. And of course, because he's a good guy, he's like, you're not wearing any clothes, right?
Yeah, like he tried his best not to look, and she had enough bubbles in the water, and so he could only see like her shoulders, but he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, like I'm so sorry, and she's just so embarrassed that it just ends there. Like they don't even have like a conversation about it. It just like ends because there's just nothing to say. There's nothing to say.
Yep.
But
so it was really cute.
I like the relationship.
I do too. I hope it's just as cute next week. Shadow's house. I don't know if this screen is from this week. It was hard for me to find a screen from this week, so sorry about that. Lots and lots and lots of stuff go on in this episode. We're still trying to rescue all of the shadows. There's a pretty big reveal at the end that me and Erik are both... I don't feel like we're on the same page about what happened, but, I mean, we could both be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. So during the episode, Ricky and Lou, they both are together, and they're trying to find Louise. They finally find her, but Lou by herself is okay. Like, she's really like passive and doesn't really know what she wants to do. But by herself, she's just really like stoic. That's fine. But when she's with Louise, she mimics everything Louise does, and so her stoicness becomes like just really condescending, like
being an asshole.
Yeah. And so Ricky was liking her, and he was like looking out for her. But the moment like she met up with Louise and he saw how she acts around Louise, he was like, you know what? I'm pushing them both in the ditch. Like, I'm not here for this.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's pretty fair. Emilico and Rum are like fighting Soots and stuff. And I think it was this episode you find out that Rum didn't actually have a name. She wasn't given a name from her shadow. Her shadow just never talks to her. And she had the name, like, you know, she made up this name from like her little rummy friend or whatever. She's got some problems.
They're both like there's being a recluse and shy, and then there's Rum. Like Rum and Shirley, they don't talk to you. They literally never had a conversation with each other. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot. But Emilico like encourages Rum because she encourages everybody. And she says, hey, even though you don't really know each other and like you don't really know what she's thinking, you can always just imagine it, and you can say, oh, maybe the reason why she doesn't release a lot of soot for you to clean is because she's cleaning up herself and she doesn't want you to have extra work, and maybe she's actually looking out for you. And even if that's not true, you can just imagine it because you don't talk to her anyway, right? So that was enough to encourage Rum. So now Rum is like going to meet up with Shirley, and Emilico is out to find Kate. But then Kate is in a cage that has like this mechanism where if the amount of soot she releases exceeds a certain amount, all the chains are going to snap and she's going to fall to the ground inside a metal cage.
Fall to her death.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, everybody else got like off pretty easy, and Kate just like is literally dangling for her, like, hey, like she's literally about to die. And so it's pretty obvious that Edward really is pretty biased, and he has no qualms with making it super obvious. But
he's got like favorites and like, oh, I know this one was gonna lose and this one might lose, and but the most interesting part of this episode was at the very end, and Edward, who, what you think is Edward that you thought was a doll, transforms into a shadow, and there's not really a lot of explanation there. Like,
but then we do see a very long kind of like, not like manga page, but it's like a long page that kind of scrolls across the screen, and it seems that it's showing that Edward was a shadow that used some type of mechanism in order to become a doll or get a doll face, or maybe vice versa. It's not completely clear, and so whatever Edward is, it seems that he's both a shadow and a doll, and so he might not have an actual quote unquote master. And so that's probably going to be the big thing for next episode in order to figure out what's going on with that.
But it was really interesting. That was definitely a twist I was not expecting at the end. So it kept me interested for next time for sure. Battle Athletes Victory Restart. All right, so we got to walk this back a little bit, because last week we were like, I can't believe the show was so good. It took them so long and it was so garbage. Guess what? We're back to garbage. We're quite back to garbage. So they finish the race, and terrorist chick decides that she's not going to blow them up, but then she blows herself up. Okay. After telling everybody to evacuate, so that did nothing. It did nothing.
It's so wild because like they had to go through so much to get to that point, right? The detective was like, "Oh, you have a bomb? I'm just going to stop it with my watch because my watch like deactivates like electric signals." And he's like, "No, it's analog. I'm just going to continue telling you all the details of my plan as we're driving to stop it." And she just casually having a conversation with him, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, like I'm gonna just disarm your bomb. Any other details you want to share with me? Yeah, here's a few more details. Like, yeah, here's my whole backstory." Yep. And I'm like,
"Yep, here's just everything for no real reason."
What are you doing? Are you? Is your heart in this or not? Apparently not, because like she gets to the place and she does like a complete character change or personality change, and it's like, oh, now I'm not like this crazy like on the edge terrorist that is thirsty for revenge. Now I'm just gonna blow myself up in order to be a martyr for my best friend. Good job, best friend. Make sure you win the race in my honor. And I'm like, no, that's not who she was. Like, who is this new character? No. Who is this new person?
It's so different from like the unhinged, like wide-eyed stare she has as like a terrorist 4 episodes ago. And it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And it was really frustrating. The other half of this episode was about Ava finding her memories of her mother, but she might be a clone and there's multiple of her because the mother was dealing with like multiple of her, and
So as the main character and Ava are running, they have all these flashbacks, and so we get to see Ava's backstory kind of. And so I guess she's slowly getting her memories back. We also get to see that while they're running, they literally already have her replacement lined up, and they have these like trained soldiers like go and attack her replacement, and she doesn't even flinch. They hit her with all they got, and it's so comical because they punch her, and like it's literally like they're punching like a brick wall because she doesn't even move or flinch. And it's so Looney Tunes.
She doesn't sweat. She doesn't do anything. Yeah.
It's just so Looney Tunes, right?
And it is. So it's ridiculous.
And so all right, we get to see that. And then the race continues, and then the main character, she goes Super Saiyan, and she gets all this energy. And at the last moment, she pulls ahead in the race, and it's so it looks so stupid. Like all the animation budget that went into the fight from last episode, they were like, "Nah, we don't got any more money." So they almost had her slide across the screen as she's running past Ava, and it's so bad. And Ava's so Ava finally loses the first race, and you know what? I'm kind of mad Ava wasn't more frustrated. Because she's been in the lead for like this race has been going on for like how many hours or whatever, and she's been in like the uncontested lead for all this time. Yep. And in the last second, this chick just goes Super Saiyan and passes her. I'd be mad as hell. I'm so mad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, she won the first 2 though. Yeah, but Ava won the first 2, so like Ava's probably still gonna win the set or whatever, you know, because it's like a 3-race thing or something. So
yeah, but the whole point of the bad guys are like, oh, Ava, you gotta win every single race, or we're gonna throw you in the trash.
Yeah, we're gonna replace you. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But yeah, well, there's one more thing. There's one more thing about battle athletes. So after Usil blows her up. They come back the next day, and so Ava gets all her memories back. And so apparently the bad guys are now going to say that Ava's going to actually compete in some type of match against her replacement for some reason. Yeah. So that was kind of like the super like ending or dramatic ending where Ava now remembers giving the main character her wristband or whatever. So yeah, that was the last of that.
Hey, can we check the stream? Because it's not showing on my phone. That's fine. Okay, just making sure. Sorry about that. Weird. Mom, can you come fix it on my phone? Cool. Just making sure. To Your Eternity. Okay. To Your Eternity has a history of being incredibly sad, and I feel like this week's wasn't sad, but freaking Gugu. Gugu is the GOAT, okay? Greatest of all time. He's not perfect, don't get me wrong. But Gugu is a champion. All right. Thank you. You see where it's not displaying though? At the top? It's got like the thing. So Gugu starts out, and of course Gugu's been like disfigured, right? And he finds out that the old man has been using his body. That's why he had like a big stomach. Is because the old man is brewing sake in his body in like an artificial bladder inside him, right? And so he sticks a tube down his mouth and like pulls it out. And I mean, I'd be mad about that too. So Gugu's like, nah, man, that is not cool. So he like runs away, right? And then on the side, back at the old man's house, the rich girl and Fu and the old man and the old lady are all like trying to get along, and Fu's like terrible at doing everything, like putting an entire block of salt in the food. Thank you. And stuff like that. And they're just like, this is completely inedible. And yeah, because he has just a fundamental misunderstanding because Gugu only gave him very basic instructions. But Gugu goes and he's like, okay, I used to work and I used to sell this stuff and I can do manual work, and he just gets right to work. I mean, dude does not even hesitate. He's like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to wear my mask and make sure people aren't freaked out by me. He starts working for this super duper nice guy who's on the right-hand side of this image, but his family is weirded out. His son hates Gugu. But the guy is like a total awesome dude too, because he's like, I can adopt you, and he gets the dudes to stop making fun of him and like his fields and stuff, and he really tries to support him. And Gugu's like, no, man, I'm a monster. Here, let me show you, and takes off his mask, and like everybody's freaking out because he's got like the monster face and all this. But then he winds up leaving because he's like, I can't do this to your family. So he leaves the guy that he was only making money with. He's almost out of money. He goes to sell the ring that he got from the girl that means so much to him. And he's like, no, I can't do it. And he runs out. And then he finds his deadbeat brother.
Yeah,
he finds his deadbeat brother.
Pretty much.
He is. He's lying in the ditch. He's emaciated and all this. And Gugu has no money. He has spent his last money on like the rice cakes or whatever that he just bought, right? No money. Only has that ring. Gives it to his brother. Because he's like, I'm going to be a monster my whole life because of my face, but you have a chance to turn your life around. And his deadbeat brother that stole all their money and ran away and abandoned him, he gives him the ring. So
yeah,
that he can turn his life around.
Like,
my God.
Well, on one hand, that was the definition of being the bigger man. But at the same time, like when Gugu was walking away, he was like, am I an idiot? And I'm like, yeah, you kind of are.
Yeah, you definitely are. I mean, yeah, but holy crap. Like, Gugu is a champion, all right? He's a champion. But he gets kidnapped by these dudes in the end, and then Fu saves him, and Fu's like, I can't grow up without you. And it was really kind of cute, because he's like, he's a dog, and he turns into the bear, and all the dudes just like run away. So
yeah. So the episode actually started off with Gugu being interested in Fu's immortality and wanting to experiment with him. And so first he pulls out a knife and cuts Fu. And Fu's like, oh, that hurt. Like, what'd you do that for? So no. Like, you're immortal. Like, it's okay. So then Fu like is able to like create the knife that hurt him. So that's when So that's when that's when they both realize that Fu's transformation ability hinges on him being hurt. And so I think it's both physically and emotionally, because he always transformed into like people that like had a connection to him and that died. And so that was his emotional hurt. And so he can also transfer to things that cause him physical pain too. And so then Gugu says, okay, if pain is the trigger, let me set your hand on fire to see if you can turn into fire. And if so you can make fire. He created the torch without the fire. But he gets mad, like bro, you just tried to set me on fire. And so the episode actually starts off with Fu being upset with Gugu for the same reason that Gugu was upset with the old man. That like you can't just like say, oh, it's fine, like you're going to live, like it didn't kill you, so like what are you mad for? Like they're pretty much the exact same line that they both told each other. And so I kind of would like Gugu to like kind of internalize that a little bit more, because he didn't actually like circle back and say, oh, wait a minute, this is exactly what I said to Fu. it kind of just moved on. But I'm still happy with this episode. It was pretty good. It showed Gugu in a really good light. It showed Fu being willing to learn and eager to actually grow. So lots of good character development in this episode.
It was really good. And that girl wasn't as insufferable in this episode because, she's the only one who actually cares that Gugu is gone at this point. Like, really,
Like the old man told everybody why Gugu left, and she's like, "Are you kidding me? Did you really do that?"
Yeah.
Like, she was so like, "Wait a minute, this is ridiculous. Like, go fix him."
Yeah.
Like, and nobody else was even like lifting a finger. They're like, "Oh, I guess we're not good food anymore." And I'm like, what?
Yep. Yeah, that was ridiculous. All right, Fruits Basket. Fruits Basket was certainly an episode this week.
Yeah.
I do like the noting here about the Cell Block Tango, because Toru definitely ran into Akito's knife 3 times.
Oh my god. I bust out laughing. Because that's one of the funniest lines in Cell Block Tango. He ran into my knife. He ran into my knife 9 times.
7 times.
It is meant to be absurd. Because who in the world would run into a knife multiple times? But then here comes Toru, and you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe Cell Block Tango wasn't as outrageous as I thought it was. Because Akito walks up to Toru with a knife and starts yelling at her and like, hey, here's all the reasons why I hate you. And Toru's like, I understand you. Like, I feel the same way. And just walks into the knife. And I'm like, Toru, please. Toru, please.
Like, whoop, whoop. You're like, yeah. And then this was kind of confusing because they apparently walk somewhere else. Like, this is in front of the house. And then like, in the next scene, like, Akito's talking to Toru, and Akito's, like, coming around and, like, actually, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to hurt her and listening to her and all this. And then the ground crumbles under Toru, and she just falls off into onto the ground from a height, and her head is bleeding, and it's like, you have a concussion, you have a serious brain injury right now, like, and Yuki's the only one smart enough to be like, no, Kyo, don't touch her, she could have a brain injury, and Yuki is 100% correct, okay, 100% correct.
But you know what the first thing Kyo does after hearing that information? He touches her and moves her head.
Of course. Because he's dumb as a box of rocks, okay? Dumb. And they have a cute scene where she might be dying and she's like, oh no, I love you. And then they kiss and it's cute and everything.
And she's like, Kyo, live without, like, even if I'm not by your side, live on without me. And I'm like, are they really about to kill Toru? Like, I know a few things about, like, I do know a small amount of spoilers about Fruits Basket, and so I knew Toru wasn't going to die. But I'm like, man, they're really milking the idea that Toru's about to die in the rain right now.
And then it turns into everybody's mad at Akito, as we predicted in the last one. It's like
I wanted Kyo to just think. So it happened in such a weird fashion that even Akito was questioning whether or not she pushed Toru. Akito was like, did I push her? The ground just collapsed and she fell. Did I do that? So I wanted Kyo to be like, just assume it was Akito and curb stomp Akito to death. I hate Akito so much. I don't care how sad her story is. I don't care about her abusive mom or her terrible family or the terrible Somas.
Yeah.
I hate Akito and I wanted her dead. But now it's all, oh, Toru forgives her. It's all happy. Everyone's happy now. We're all going to have a loving relationship now.
You know it was going to end that way. You knew it was going to be that way. You knew it.
But there needed to be consequences. Even Momiji was like, oh, aren't you glad that Toru is such an idiot that she's going to write this off as just like another day and not be like have a grudge against you? Like, even Momiji had to like acknowledge Toru being an idiot. Like, so
Momiji is one of the most perceptive characters in the show.
Who?
But yeah.
What'd you say? Who's one of the most perceptive characters?
Momiji is one of the most perceptive characters in the show.
Yeah. So Akito finally feels guilty for the first time in her life, literally the first time in her life. And she goes to Toru's in Kurno, right? That's his name. She goes to the hospital bed to apologize.
Yeah, Kurno's okay. Kurino's not dead, even though he got stabbed. He's not dead. And Hattori's like, nah, it's cool. He's all right, and that's good.
No consequences
that would have been
for
murder.
literally stabbing 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
No consequences, because it's Akito, right?
Of course.
But yeah.
All right, Mars Red. I told you that the children were not gonna work, okay? And Tokyo Ghoul here totally agreed, and he totally owns some children. Vampire children are not sustainable. Also, they're kind of stupid. There was a scene in this episode where some kid is like a vampire and he chases a rat into the sun and immediately dies. And I laughed really hard at that scene. It was not supposed to be a funny scene, but I definitely laughed super hard at that because I'm like, you dummy. What did you do that for?
I am forgiving to children. You always want to call them dumb. You called Emiliko dumb when she fell out the window in episode 2. She's not dumb.
Emiliko is just a child. Yes, she is.
She's just a child, right? And so this kid was hungry. And like the vampire thing, right? Like you only know about the effects after you experience the effects. So it's like the kid probably didn't know that you're going to immediately burst into flames like in like 2 seconds. Like maybe the kid thought it was going to be like what's his face? The main character of Bakemonogatari. I forgot his name. Maybe it's thought be like that, where you can just burst into flames and be alive for like 20 minutes before you die. Right?
I love that scene.
But no, the moment the kid runs into the light, it's just like poof, poof. It's not even 1 second.
It was hilarious. It was very unintentionally hilarious. So in this episode,
the scene or the Mars Red scene.
The Bakemonogatari scene was intentionally hilarious. The Mars Red scene was unintentionally hilarious.
Yeah.
The younger vampire dude hears about that somebody's killing children, and turns out, Tokyo Ghoul is killing children because they can't survive on their own, and he explains this later in the episode. And then he hears like a recording of the chief guy, Maeda, telling the unit to kill any vampires, including the kids, but then it might be doctored, and they question that later in the episode. The guy does admit to killing the children because they go into like how children can't disguise themselves and they don't age and all of that. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
But at this point, right? Like, it's even a big deal. Literally, like the whole town is vampires at this point. Like, it doesn't even matter. Everybody knows. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and as you might have expected, Maeda is a vampire now because little vampire dude also has turned him. But little vampire dude is not living in the theater anymore, and so he's like a little sad about that. And
he's just in like I guess his apartment now, but like the reporter is still around. The reporter
doesn't know he's a vampire. Yeah, so the reporter's like, "What are you doing? You need to go outside and get some sun." And it's like, he's a vampire.
We're 9 episodes in, and I'm still waiting for the reporter to have any level of plot relevance. Like, she's in almost every episode, and like she has not influenced the direction of anything yet. Like, she could have been like, why do they even have her character in this anime? Like, she has no like influence at all. So she walks into the room. She walks into the room and sees a little vampire boy, and she doesn't know he's a vampire. So she's like you said, she tries to open up the window. He's like, no, I don't do that. But he's just so casual about it. Like, you literally burst into flames in a millisecond. Yep. And this chick is walking over to the window. You need to pull out a knife and stab her. She's threatening your life at that point. Like, why are you so casual about it? But whatever.
Yeah.
Besides from that, she has no real relevance to the show.
No, she doesn't. I agree. I don't love this show, but I don't hate this show. I like this show more than you do. I'm still interested in it, and I told you that those children vampire were going to be a problem, but I really don't know where they're going to go with this because you got a whole town full of vampires now, and it's like, okay. I mean, there's not going to be a good end game here. There's just not. It's going to be unpleasant.
I don't understand. Like this, I just don't understand anything about this show, and I stopped caring a while ago. Like, I don't get why the blonde vampire is intentionally making all these vampires to then team up with the general guy to kill them. I don't know what his goal is. Like, he's just mass producing a crazy amount of vampires just to be fodder to be killed by the special unit. And there's no indication of what the profit is. Like he's not even selling. He's not even like an arms dealer selling to both sides, because he's just giving away the vampire juice or whatever the vaccine. Just throwing it
telling them it's a vaccine. Yeah.
And it's like, I just don't get it. I don't really care. This is my bottom show of all the things we're watching. But I'm glad you enjoy it a little bit. I don't know.
I enjoy it. I mean, I don't hate it. It's not the bottom of the barrel for me. So, but that's okay, because you know what's next? Odd Taxi, the undisputed champion of the world.
Yes, undisputed. You know what? Whenever Odd Taxi starts, I just get into the mood, because the jam, the opening theme song for Odd Taxi is just so good. Like the moment that song starts to play, I'm like, yes. Like, oh my god, Odd Taxi is so good on all fronts.
I'm all about Odd Taxi too. So I mean, I read through a bunch of the what's his face, Kabasawa's freaking his Twitter account, because you told me about it last time. And I was like, yeah, man, I read through it.
Oh,
that boy had a bad day. He had a bad day this week. Oh
no, man. So where do you even start, right? So Kabasawa, he was in the hotel room with this chick, and she's like, "Oh, I'm like one of your fans, and like I'm your biggest supporter," and like he picks up a lampshade and just goes after her and like and smashes it, and he's like, "You don't know me, you don't know what I'm going through, like get out of here." And I'm like, bro, like.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like they just had sex, and it's like, what are you doing? Dude is unhinged, okay? He's unhinged in like that weird, like I'm a rock star with new money, and I'm still like a kid, so I don't understand what to do with it, and new fame, and that's what he feels like to be. All right. But no, so he was not about that.
He has all these people following him, but he
needed to have his existential crisis with this chick who would give it up in the hotel room, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, dude. But he had a bad time in this episode, a bad time.
So right after he loses it on that chick, he gets a text message from Otokawa, saying, "Hey, Dobu's going to be at this location in an hour. Like, be the hero that we need." Like, Otokawa is just egging him on. Like, he knows what makes this man tick, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just going to tell him what he wants to hear. Meet me in an hour." And so while Hippo Boy is trying to get there, main character picks up Dobu, and they're driving towards the warehouse in order to save. I forgot their names are just so much. There's so many names in the show. They're trying to save Monkey Boy, right?
They're trying to save him. Yeah.
They're trying to save him, and so while they're driving towards
his name is Kakihana.
Yeah. While they're driving towards there, Skull Mask pulls up with a gun and tries to drive him off the road and starts shooting at the car.
Right there on the street. Yeah, Skull Mask is not
like, is this even Japan anymore? Like, I'm being like shot at on the street. Like, what is happening?
It was wild, but they finally do get there, and they're going to rescue him, and then they get there, and Dobu starts talking to the bear guy, like the white bear guy, and he's like, you know that this is, you and is it Kano, is the other guy? You guys work for the same guy, and you get your instructions from the same boss, and this is his operation, and this and that, and the monkey dude was in the bathroom too. He's like, the bear guy's like, all right, if you go to the bathroom, get out what you need, because I won't be back for 3 days. And first of all, what? But then he's on the toilet when Otokawa comes in to rescue him, and he's like just crying, and he can't even get, and he's just like trying to get out. Dude's having a bad day, like a real bad day. But when they leave, Otokawa and Kakihana are leaving, right? And they just like ditch Dobu, because he knows that the hippo guy is coming for Dobu, and the hippo guy comes, and then Dobu's like, you're terrible at this, and like instantly overpowers him and makes him get on camera
while having a gun wound, right?
He
Before
did.
Hippo
He
Guy
got
shows
shot.
up. Before Hippo Guy shows up, Dobu beats up the bear guy. Dobu beats him up and turns around the corner, and somebody shoots at him. And he says it's a skull guy, but the viewer never gets to see who shot. We just see the hand, right? And so Dobu gets shot in the leg, and the guy, whoever shot at him, runs off. And so I'm pretty sure that's either Little Daimon or Older Daimon. That's one of them, and I'm not sure which one.
I think it's Little Daimon. All right, it's Little Dog Dude, and I think that's who it was. But yeah, no, Dobu is shot, still overpowers the Hippo Guy, and the Hippo Guy's like, I'll give you all the money I have, my car, and my apartment. And I just feel like that seems very extreme.
Yeah, like you could have just gave him all your money, and he would have left you alone. You didn't even have to say it.
Yeah.
I just bought an apartment, and I got a new car. Like, give him your money or give him your car. One or the other, maybe even both. But not all
both.
Three.
Yeah,
all three is crazy.
It is. But then Dobu makes him like get on camera and film an apology video and all of this, and he's just like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And it was really pathetic, like super pathetic. And that's the last tweet on the Twitter. It's his apology video. It's like a screenshot of his apology video.
So it reminded me of like the terrorist hostage videos where they have to make a video saying, "Yes, I'm being treated well. I'm healthy, and I love my family." Like it's like, oh, okay. So Hippo Boy is definitely out of the picture now. His Twitter account is deactivated. Yeah. He's lost all his shame and followers. And even at the end of the video, he's even like, yeah, no refunds.
Yep. He's like, I'm sorry, I can't give you any refunds on these special things that you bought. Like,
it's all in Dobu's hands now. No refunds.
So at the end, the monkey dude it has like an existential moment, and he like throws the engagement ring away, and then he's like, no, that was worth a lot of money. So he comes back down into the water to find the engagement ring, right?
Yeah, because apparently every river in Japan is just this shallow water that you can just walk in and find. Like, and this is the plot point of like 9 out of 10 anime, where someone loses something in the river and has to spend 2 days
on the overpass, and it's got like a little water underneath it, and but then the interesting part is the gorilla guy goes to the apartment that Otokawa owns. And Otokawa, to this point, has thought that his parents like abandoned him, and he's being taken care of by this fund. And the landlord lady confirms it. He's lived there his whole life since he was a kid. And this fund pays his rent to her. And she's like, yeah, I just took it. And if he moves out, I'm just going to send it back, which is really straight up of her to not just keep their money because they wouldn't know.
Like, the way she worded it, it seems like they paid in advance because she said they already paid for him to live there for life. Like, they paid her in advance payment. And I'm like, why is she not living it up? Like, that's a lot of rent money to just dump on somebody at once.
It is. It is.
No, he's been there for she's like 20, 30 years.
And she's like, no, his parents are dead. So that was the reveal there. Like, nope, his parents are definitely dead. And she had no qualms about it. She's just like, no, they're definitely dead. So we'll see where that goes.
I don't know why that really matters. I mean, like we weren't expecting them to come back.
I think it mattered that he doesn't think they're dead. Like that's the piece of it that matters, you know. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, Slime Diaries. I'm kind of tired of Slime Diaries, like current storyline. I don't care that much about Milim. We're in winter now because we went through the seasons. The only part of this episode that I particularly liked was the Fire Squad and Gabiru, because Gabiru is my favorite. But Gabiru is he apparently needs to hibernate in the winter, and he was very tired, and he was trying not to be tired, and it was pretty cute, and I liked it. But Benimaru is the fire mascot.
Yeah, and then we get to see more of God, I forgot her name. The former hero. Her friends are like, oh yeah, we're going back to Tempest. That's the village where our friend died. and her ghost is
But it's
looking
also the
down like,
village where we
oh.
really like meat.
Yeah, her ghost
They're
is like,
like,
oh, guys, you remember me? Yeah, I can't wait to have some of that more of that meat. And it's like, oh, really? That's why you're coming back? Okay, thanks, guys.
I don't know. I've taken trips for food before. It is what it is.
So I'm a little surprised that Slime Diaries has this much Millium in it. I mean, I don't dislike her. I'm fine with the amount of Millium, but I am surprised that at this point it feels like I think she's had more screen time in Slime Diaries than she had in the actual main show. Because in the main show, like it's almost like a plot point that like she can't be around for a long period of time because she's crazy overpowered. Like even in Slime Diaries, like, they showed her like open up a door and she ripped it off the hinges. Like she is like a catastrophe level disaster arriving in your town. So it's like she can't be at places for a long period of time. And so I guess Slime Diaries, they're trying to like have her on screen a lot because they know that she just can't be in the regular show. So this like I guess it's the same thing for I forgot. I think her name is Trillium, the forest spirit, the girl with the green hair. She was hardly in the main show either. So she was hardly in the main show either. But like she's in almost every episode of Slime Diaries. So it is nice to see these characters that just can't be in the normal show very often get fleshed out a little bit more. So I'm enjoying it.
I don't hate the show. It's all right. Yeah. I thought this was a weaker episode, but
yeah, it was.
Zombieland Saga Revenge. This might have been my favorite show of the week. I don't know, Odd Taxi might take it, but I really liked this whole arc over the last 2 episodes. It was really unexpected. So you got the conclusion to the way in the past arc in this one, which did not in any way go the way that I thought it was going to go, okay? Like, not even a little bit. So the Kichi guy, who is like, I love Saga, has now attracted the wrong kind of people, okay? It's really weird, because I feel like there are plenty of, like, real-life, like, political analogs to this, where somebody has a good intention, and then attracts, like, the wrong kind of people for the wrong reasons to their cause. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so his like followers are like, nah, man, we gotta like take over. We gotta like lead an insurrection. He's like, whoa. I just want to make our town famous. What are you doing? And he's a pushover, so they're like
10 people. This group of like 10 people are out here trying to start a revolt against the entire government, and there's literally like 10 of them. It might not even be 10. And I'm like, this is really short-sighted, guys. Like, I'm not sure what you're trying to do here. But whatever.
It is.
So they decide they're going to have a revolution. But
it didn't last very long. Yeah, the other guy, the gray-haired guy, just basically owns them because he's like a secret. He's a secret like shogun, loyalist or whatever. So he comes up, and he just, like, murderizes all of them. And then Kichi comes up, and Kichi's like, what did you do? And he's like, I'm sorry, dude. I gotta kill you, too, because you helped lead this. And he's like, and, of course, this kid has no skills. But turns out that freaking Yuguri is a secret assassin chick, and her Koto, like, instrument opens up into a freaking katana. And then she just like fights him, and it's like, what? Where did that even come from? I
did not see it coming at all. I did not expect Yuguri to be like the muscle in the group. But now we know, when we go back to the present, now we know if anybody causes problems on stage, Yuguri has it so covered. Like, she's already killed many men. She has no qualms adding a few more.
Well, you find out in the end of the episode, the old man that they talk to, that he's like, I am Saga. And it reminded me of Excalibur. Arthur is the land, and the land is Arthur. And, like, he's, like, dying, and she's giving him, like, medicine earlier in the episode, but she leaves him a note that he, like, almost dies, but then gets to her medicine, and then, like, he finds the note in the bottom of the medicine, and he's like, yeah, if you get this, I'm already dead. And at this point, when he finds that note, I was very confused, because I'm like, but she got away. She totally, like, she was there when she killed the other guy. She killed Ito, and she's waiting, and the cops were coming in the background, but clearly she's an experienced assassin, so she could just, I don't know, leave. But she decided to choose not to do that. and take the blame for the insurrection and got beheaded. And it's like, you're an assassin and you could have just left. Like, this is feudal Japan. You could just run away. Like, they don't have cars. I mean, what are you doing? But whatever. She just decided to sacrifice herself.
I don't know why she felt the need in order to take the fall, because it's not like they needed another culprit, because the guys are already in the street dead. She also killed Ito. So it's like she could have pinned it on Ito. So I don't really get it. But like it was a good scene. It was a good scene.
It was a good scene, but it just didn't make any sense.
Beheaded. Then they showed a history lesson for Japan. They showed that the next year Saga comes back or gets recognized as an independent area. And then they also passed a law the next year forbidding public executions. And so I feel like Japan. I wrote this note for our Spin the Wheel show. I feel like Japan really enjoys making shows and content that showcases the history of certain things or different parts of their culture or localized or local specialties. Japan has just so many different shows about something very specific to a specific part of the nation, right?
Yes.
And I feel like for America, like we do the opposite. Like if we want to add like American culture into something, it's almost satire. Like it's almost intentionally meant to be like over the top and like, you're from Texas, like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I do appreciate that this show actually tried to like showcase the real history of Saga in this fictional conflict that happened. So it's fun.
Well, and I guess the most interesting part of this to me was the insinuation that the old man in the distant past is also immortal, because he had the immortal dog and the zombie dog, and he talked about having the ability to resurrect. Immortal dog stares unblinkingly at the sun. But yeah, no, at the end, he's like the bartender, and he's like, how do you like this era? And she's like, it's pretty good. I kind of like it. And it's like, okay, so there's still just randomly some immortal old man. All right, cool. Yeah. I'm in. And then at the end, she gets a really cool song that actually suits her very, very well. And I liked the whole dance number at the end. It was pretty cool.
The dance performances for this season has been just consistently top tier. Like when she started singing at first, I wasn't really into it. I was like, what is she doing? What is she doing? But then when it started going into like this jazzy kind of like spooky aura, like, oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. It fits her perfectly.
Really good.
It had like this kind of like spooky feel to it, but also kind of like had like this sexy kind of feel to it. And it's like, oh man, this was definitely one of the best performances. And I feel like I've been saying that about every single performance this season.
I know. So they've been really good. I agree. But this might have been my favorite show this week because it surprised the crap out of me how serious of a tone and how much I liked it. Like, because it didn't feel like another Zombieland. They didn't have a lot of the silly comedy stuff like they've been doing in a lot of episodes, which I liked it better. I thought it was really good. So
yeah.
All right, our Spin the Wheel show this week was Let's Make a Mug 2, and it was about a pottery club. It had real big vibes like the board game show that we watched a couple seasons ago, you know? It really felt like the board game show because it's this girl and her dad's company goes bankrupt so that they wind up moving back to like her mom's hometown, and he opens a cafe where they have a bunch of different like mugs that her mom crafted because apparently in their household they never talked about her mom because her mom was a famous like sculptor and is like renowned in the pottery world, but her mom's dead. So she joins the pottery club, but the 14 minutes of every episode is like an anime, and then 9 minutes of it is the voice actresses going to like the Gifu prefecture where this place is set, where they're like really well known for their pottery and doing various things around Gifu with the pottery. I didn't really like the live action parts because I just don't care that much, but I did appreciate in the
this live action, at the very least, is better than the live action segment of Shugochara.
Shugochara? Yeah, well, Shugochara was
the
live action
or was
pretty
it the party? Yeah, so at the very least, this wasn't better than the live action segments of Sugar Chara. So
That's fair.
I didn't watch it. I didn't actually watch it. I kind of skimmed through it.
Oh,
but...
you didn't miss a lot, but you did miss one thing where they all talk about their families, and then one girl shares way too much about how she was basically a delinquent as a child, and she respects her father a lot because he had to deal with like her being basically a delinquent. This is a live action segment with the voice actors. This is not the anime, okay? And she just like totally overshares. And all the other girls are like, were you supposed to talk about that? Like, it was really weird and awkward.
I did watch some of the part where they were talking. I didn't watch that segment, that part. But I remember they were talking about their father, and one girl was like, "Oh yeah, her father's super cool," and she was going off about this other girl's father, and I'm like, "But what about your father?"
Yeah. She was talking about how the other girl's father was like on the cooking show with her or something, or I remember that. But the one girl was like, "Yeah, my dad was a champion because I was a delinquent." Oh, okay, and the other girl's like, "Are you supposed to share that much?" Like, all right. But it was cute. I watched 2 episodes of the anime and one of the live action pieces of it. It's not compelling enough for me to want to follow it because I just don't care about pottery that much.
Yeah, but I do agree with you that it's very similar to After School Dice Club, where the point is to like After School Dice Club is about them learning about a different board game every single episode. This one is about them learning. It seems about them learning about a different pottery, where the type that pottery comes from, or what, I don't know, area of Japan it originated from. And so one girl even pulls out this giant sheets of paper and just off memory just draws all of Japan, just draws a perfect diagram of Japan without even referencing anything. And she says, "Okay, let me put this pot over here. This is from this area of Japan. This is from this area of Japan." And so they go through each kind of segment of Japan in order to try to showcase like the different culture that inspired that particular like piece. So it's fun. It's I think it's gonna be pretty educational if you stick with it, but it's not like a super like, oh, I gotta watch the next episode in order to figure out what's gonna happen. No, it's not that type of show. But it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it was cute. No, it wasn't. But that brings us to spin the wheel time.
Oh boy.
All right, are you ready?
Oh boy.
Click it. Let's spin it.
Not a Jess show. Not a Jess show. Not a Jess show. What is it?
Bikini Warrior. This is not one of mine. I'm putting this out there right now. This is not one of mine.
It sounds like one of yours.
Doesn't it though? No, it's not. It's not one of mine. But this is it sounds terrible. It's on Funimation. We'll watch it for next week and we'll report back if it is.
It sounds like a battle athlete time. All right, let's give it a shot.
I don't know. You liked Icon, and that was the worst anime I've ever seen. Okay. I don't want to hear it.
Icon is so bad that it's hilarious. It's
not.
It's
not
at
all.
Watch.
It's just bad. It's bad on every level.
Simply to know where all the Amy Hell memes come from.
You're wrong. I'm sorry that you're wrong. I mean, I feel bad that you're wrong, but you're wrong, and that's just what
all right.
It is, so
we'll see. We'll see what Battle Bikini Warriors is, if it's any good. I doubt it.
I'm not holding out hope for it to be good, but maybe it'll be entertaining. So,
but you know what?
We'll see you guys.
Hold on, I'm going to say I have to hold out judgment because there's another show called Bodacious Space Pirates that actually is good. So I'm not going to judge this.
That's just because the name was weird. The show itself is not weird. Like, I watched Bodacious Space Pirates and it is good. You're right, but no, that's just the name being weird. So all right. You can join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube. You can catch our back catalog if you look in the playlist. And we look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be on week 8 or 9, depending on the show, and it's going to be exciting. So we'll see you then. Bye.
See ya.